It was a really, really stupid mistake, but I wanted to tell you guys that for two reasons. One, I said I was going to be honest. I was going to promote my mistakes, and the reason for that is because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. We are building this right here. So it's a privacy wall for my daughter's deck on her brand new house that she just moved into. Now, we're doing it a little bit different. Typically, this is what I would call rough carpentry. You get some 2x4s and screw them together, fence boards, staple them. We're doing something completely different. We're going to be doing rough lumber the way that a cabinet maker would do it. So it's going to be the nicest, best built privacy wall in the whole wide world. Sure of that. Okay, day one, kind of. It's complicated. This project has been a shit show for me from the very beginning. That issues with that thing right there, not you, that thing. My video camera has not been cooperating, nor has this, my microphone. So I've had technical issues. Hasn't gone good. So I'm claiming this is day one because I jumped in my time machine, went back about 6 days. So it's kind of day one. However, the project is finished, it's installed, looks fantastic, everything is done. However, because of my issues with my camera and my mic, I'm having to re-record a bunch of stuff, which makes the editing a real challenge, especially for me, a guy that doesn't have a lot of experience editing videos. So some of this may look a little bit odd because it might look out of order, and that's because it is. However, I'm fixing it with my editing skills. So if it looks out of order, just ignore that part that looks out of order because it's, well, it is. It is what it is. So this is day one again. I feel like we've been here before. So I'm done with the 4-foot section. And that was one of the videos that it just didn't record for whatever reason. However, you didn't miss much because that's the boring section. It's just like a fence, 4 feet by 4 feet with fence boards. Didn't miss a whole lot. The exciting part is the 2 5-foot sections, which are also done, by the way. Now, as I'd said in the preview, I'm doing this project with rough lumber, but I'm using cabinet maker construction. And what I mean by that is all of the joints are dados or rabbets. There's very few screws. I just put a couple in for structural integrity because it is an outside thing. But it's all glued, dadoed, rabbited, sturdy as hell, and looks really good. So the fence boards, they're actually deck boards, even though I call them fence boards. But I went with deck boards because they're 1 inch thick, which means there's going to be less cupping on them. They're flatter and straighter. So my dado for that is obviously a little over 1 inch. Again, because I'm working with rough lumber, I didn't want to go exact. I wanted to leave a little bit of comfort room in there, just in case some of them are a little bit cupped or warped. So I'm going about 1 1/16 wide for that bottom dado. Now the bit that I'm using is a 1/2 inch bit. So I've got to go make 2 runs on each piece, which leaves a sliver in the middle that I take out with a chisel. Now for the 2 vertical pieces that have the dados to support the middle horizontal piece and a rabbet on the top and bottom to support the top and bottom piece, I find that the best way to do rabbets or dados on rough lumber is with my radial arm saw. So we're going to do that first, and I'll show you how to do a dado with the radial arm saw, or you can use a miter saw as long as you can adjust the height of the saw. Make sense? So let's start with laying out the dado and rabbets on the vertical parts. I'm not going to film all of them because it'll bore the hell out of you guys. I'm just going to film one of them so you can see how they're done. And just imagine me doing that 3 more times. So you're gonna have to use your imagination just a little tiny bit. So you'll see it once. You can rewind it and watch this part 4 times. I'm fine with that. In fact, I support that because it gets me more viewer hours or something like that. So feel free to rewind and rewatch it as often as you want. So there's 4 vertical uprights in total, with the rabbet on each end, dado 2 feet down from the top. So I've got my radial arm saw set to cut about 2/3 of the way down. I want a nice deep rabbet and dado. So I'll be left with 1/2 inch or 5/8, something like that in there. But you'll see what I mean. Okay, let's get started. I'll get some safety glasses and let's get going. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is lay out the location, and I'm going to cheat and just use a piece of this 2x4 that I cut off because I know that it is the exact thickness of this one, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark both ends first. And I'm not going to use any fancy jigs or anything. I'm just going to eyeball it and kind of sneak up on it so I have perfection. If I was doing it on the table saw, I would use the patented AlumaPro dado system. Actually, still patent pending. I'm not going to lie to you. But because this is rough lumber and because each piece has got a bit of a warp in it, so that means it's really difficult to hold it down flat on the table saw and saw through. So that's why I'm using the radial arm saw, because it's easier for me to push this down flat and pull the saw through. Make sense? So it's just easier. So I've got a stop block here screwed down, which is set up for my middle dado, which is going to support the lattice on top and the deck boards or fence boards on the bottom. So I've already got that pre-marked, so I'm not going to draw out my middle one yet because I don't need to. Because I know that when I'm touching there, that's going to make the bottom side of my dado. So I can just set this in there and then draw my line to get my thickness. Now, the other thing with this specific radial arm saw, it's not a 10-inch radial arm saw. So in order for me to cut right through with the blade raised up, I need to put a little support fence in the back to bring my 2x4 out a little bit so the blade can get right through the full width the whole way through. Otherwise, it wouldn't cut through all the way on this side. So I'd have a dado that is kind of slanted like that, and we don't like slanted dados. So I'm actually going to start with the middle one just because I've got my stop block set up. And I've already got my height adjusted as well. So I know that that's going to be the bottom of the dado. So I can just line it up. Let me get a square. Because I want to make sure that my line is right to the outside edge accurately, because I'm going to line it up. I'm going to eyeball it. Kind of the old school way of doing it, as far as I'm concerned. So let's try that. So now I'm just going to make a bunch of slices that I'll remove with a chisel once they're all cut. I think I like that. So we're going to go with that. So you can see that this board is warped. I'm going to try and get it as flat as I can. I can just remove whatever is not removed with the chisel. So I'm going to try and keep it level. That's my main focus. That's too high. That looks good as well. Okay, we're going for a ride. Hold on. Buckle up. So now it's just a matter of removing the chunks. This is my favorite part. Now this is probably the worst chisel that I own because a friend borrowed my chisels, so this is all I got right at the moment. But it's good enough. Now, again, if I was doing cabinet work, I would want this bang on smooth, like perfectly smooth. But because I'm working with rough lumber, I actually kind of want to keep a bit of these lines in here, these grooves. And the reason that I want them in there is it's more places for the glue to get comfortable. So it'll just create a bit of a stronger bond. Not significant, but every little bit helps. So that is the first one. Oh, there's a knot here, so that's not going to be fun. Not at all. And perfection, once again. But as good as it can get, especially with rough lumber. One more. Using a crappy old chisel really makes you appreciate good chisels. Let me say this about that. Now I wanted that as tight as I could get it because this lumber is probably going to shrink over time. So I think we got that. Don't even need any screws or nails. Snap together. So pretend I did that 3 more times. Okay. Day 2. Wait, that would be 4. Day 2. So next, we've got our 4-foot section done. Next is our 2 5-foot sections. I've got them cut. So the next step is for me to route out the dado for the bottom section that's going to contain the fence boards. Now the top section of these 5-foot pieces, that's where the lattice goes. So I also have to dado those out, but I need a 1/4-inch bit for those. So right now I'm just going to focus on the bottom section of the 5-foot pieces. Keep our scraps in one place. Organization is key. I feel like I'm forgetting to do something. I had about 3 hours sleep last night, so my head is kind of in a fog. So I'm expecting to make some mistakes, but I'll do my best not to. Okay, I guess we're ready to go. Let's do this. What the hell? That's never happened before. Come on. What the hell? I've never, ever had that happen. Ever. Ever. It's just one of them days, isn't it? My God. I'm just not in the mood. Okay, you're tight as tight can be. So are you. And so are you. I don't like not having confidence in my tools. And I just don't. Remember in the beginning when I said I might regret this? Well, today's the day. Day three. Day three on the privacy wall build, and I'm hoping two things. One, I'm hoping things go better than they did yesterday, because yesterday was an absolute cluster. No question. Things didn't work out. I made some rookie mistakes. I had router issues. I was tired, so it just sucked. So today is going to be much, much better, I hope. So I'm going to start with a quick 10-second tidy, just do a bit of a vacuum. Then I can get to routing out my two brand new vertical boards, because my other two are officially firewood, even though it's treated, so don't burn treated chemical stuff. Scrap wood, garbage. Garbage, I like that word. Okay, quick little vacuum. And I might as well do a bit of a tip too. I'm gonna give you a tip. A lot of you, this won't be new. Once again, it's not something that I invented, unfortunately. I stole it off of YouTube from someone else, and I forget who it was, but it's an industrial vacuum cleaner. Basically turning your dust collector into a vacuum cleaner. So it's like a 2 horsepower vacuum. No, that's not 2 horsepower. I can't see. It's scraped off. So it's probably a 50 horsepower. I'm sure that's a 50 horsepower motor. Gotta be. Maybe even more. So 50 horsepower shop vac. Let's see how it does. You guys can't see, but you'll have to trust me. Actually, what the hell? I'll bring you over for a quick peek. You don't want to miss out on this, do you? Hell no. Oh, I got my extension cords all doubled up, and move our... Oh, come on. Get out of there. I'm having extension cord issues on the ground here. Oh, my camera's tilted. This is just... Okay. Not liking the tone of the day, and my camera tripod, whatever you want to call it, thing isn't performing. I got cords all over. Okay. All this for a quick vacuum. Oh, before I do that, got to get my old man tool. Shop vac doesn't like these things that tend to plug it. So we pick up the big pieces first using our old man tool. Of course, we have a bad back. Bending over is the last thing we ever want to do, unfortunately. If you don't have one of these and you're old, actually even if you're young, they are pretty cool for reaching things in the back shelf or something. And I'm always surprised at how well it actually works. Like I can pick up washers with this thing off the floor. For some reason that just amazes me. Doesn't take much to amaze me. And I think I paid like $5 for this thing. I believe I got it at Princess Auto, which is one of my favorite. I think Princess Auto is like the Canadian version of Harbor Freight. I've heard, well, everyone in the States talking about Harbor Freight, and I'm jealous because from everything I've heard about it, it's a place that I would really, really enjoy. I'm guessing it's like our Princess Auto. If there's anyone watching this video, other than my family members, if you've been to Harbor Freight and Princess Auto, let me know in the comments if they are in fact the same concept. There's my security guard has seen a shadow, I'm guessing. All right, let me go yell at my security dog. Must be a big shadow. Okay, hang on, I'll be back. You're gonna get a spanking. Bloody hell. Okay, you guys ready for this? This is gonna be exciting. I feel like, remember, well, some of you don't remember, but back in the day, there used to be door-to-door vacuum salesmen. And they used to come into your house and basically throw a bunch of dirt and shit on your floor and vacuum it up to show you how well their vacuums work. And that's kind of what I feel like right now. Oh, look at that. Look at that. There, how impressive is that? The Hoover 2000, 85 horsepower. Shop vac. Amazing, right? You want one, don't you? We finance, we do it all. Okay, good as new. Now, let me tell you one of the things that I do not like about this assembly table. I wish I'd put the holes in it for bench dogs, because this groove thing is another way of clamping things down. However, if you look in this crack here, it just gets full of sawdust and shit, but that's okay. We're not clamping anything down. Okay, let's get back into it. I'm gonna check my depth again, and I'm gonna tighten that out of this thing because it fell off yesterday and that still bothers me. Our depth is good. Safety glasses, where art thou? Let's just dive right in. Let's see how this works today. Well, that was uneventful, and we like uneventful. In fact, we love uneventful. Okay, now let me do the other one. Who invented slotted screws, and why are they on my router? That's what I want to know. Whoever invented them, Mr. Slot, should be throat punched, is what I think. Let's give it a whirl, see what happens. It's pretty tight. I mean, if I was doing cabinet work, it would be a perfect fit. However, I'm not. This is rough lumber, don't forget. I also forgot to clamp this puppy down. So let me do that before I forget again. And then we'll give this a tiny little adjustment. God, I hate this fence system thing. I really, really need to make a good one of these days. Okay, so that just moved it, I think, a touch. The thing I don't like about this fence is it's so hard to adjust with accuracy for a few reasons. Because it's got the two pins, it has the ability to do that. So I might be where I want to be on this one, but then this one, if this pin is in a bit further, then my whole thing is in, and I just don't like it. And then with this groove right here, I can't get my tape measure right up against it, so It's a friggin' nightmare, all these things I have to deal with in my life. Misery. I know that's gonna be too wide. God damn it. Have I mentioned that I hate this? You little. And these goddamn slotted screws are gonna make me throw shit and throw my router across my shop any second. That will be good content though, won't it? You know, I was thinking last night about my router that I'm using here. I bought this router in 1989. That is insane. So I guess I shouldn't complain too much. 1989. I can't even do the math on that and tell you how old it is. So today, this is I've lost track. I think it's day 4. We'll call it day 4. I think that's what it is. So I thought I had a good day all around yesterday. Then, after the day was done, I got to my computer, downloaded all my video, was just checking it out, and I realized that for the vast majority of yesterday, and there was a lot of video that I took yesterday. I had 5 hours, at least 5 or 6 hours of video that I took. And about 3 hours of that video, there was no sound at all. My sound didn't work. Even though I had my fancy new microphone attached and on, all the lights were on, everything should have been good. This is the second time this has happened to me, so it's very, very frustrating. So I've got half of yesterday's video with 0 sounds, not a peep, Nothing, not even quiet sounds, just dead silence. So that really sucks. It's so disheartening. And the frustrating thing is there's no way for me to know whether or not my mic is working or the camera is even recording, because that's happened to me before as well. Or I think I'm recording and for whatever reason, it's just not. The last video of the day didn't record at all. And that was the video of me installing this upper lattice, which looks fantastic, as you can see. It's in there nice and solid, doesn't move. I guess the fortunate thing is I get to build another one of these today that's exactly the same. So Jersey wants to go outside. Just a second. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back. You're so pretty. There you go. Knock yourself out. Have a ball. So I've got all of the verticals, the horizontal, everything is routed. We're ready to assemble. So all I need to do is cut the deck boards for the next one. So I'm just going to lay everything out on my assembly table here to see what we got to work with. Then I can take some field measurements to make sure that we're going to be perfect, because we're going for perfection here. Don't forget. Okay, green light's on. Says I'm got sound. The mic is working. I'm recording. Everything should be happy. Same as yesterday. So how do I say this? So when I started making videos, I told myself I want to be completely honest all the time. I don't want to try to come off as this expert that knows everything, never makes mistakes, and does everything like they're supposed to and lives a fairy tale life, because that is just not the case. Even though I've been doing this for a very long time, 30 years, I still make mistakes. In fact, I often make what I would call rookie mistakes. And it's usually for one of two reasons. It's either trying to go too fast and not really paying attention, or it's going too fast and not really paying attention. One of those two. Usually it's the second one, but sometimes it's the first. So anyway, where I'm going with this, when I was routing out these vertical ends, the two end pieces, another time my video wasn't recording. And this one really pissed me off because I made a huge rookie mistake when I was doing that. It didn't record it. So to me, that's kind of God's way of saying, don't tell the world about this, because he didn't want to record it, right? Anyway, so what I did, I made 4 of these vertical pieces. And you can see here, there's a skinny side and a fat side. This fat side is 1.5 inches wide. Reason being is I want to put a cross brace in here after I'm done, and I don't want it to protrude above what's going to be the outside. So I left 1.5 inches space here intentionally. So I went ahead, I made 4 of these verticals exactly like this one, which at the time, I was just focused on getting this routing done. I was going as fast as I could because I was on a time crunch, and I just wasn't thinking. But it's also the day that I only had like 2 hours sleep the night before, so I kind of have an excuse. My head was in a fog. So I made 4 of these exactly the same. All of them, fat part here, skinny part here, and the upper part is to receive the lattice. I was happy. I've got these 4 all routed. We can just carry on to the next step. Now take a look at this one. This one, the left side, has a skinny part on the bottom. This one that I just pulled from the right side, which I had to flip over, has the fat part on the bottom. So I made 4 of these, when what I should have done is made 2 like that and 2 like that. Because the other end, when you flip it over like that, if I had 2 of these, it just wouldn't work. Do you get what I'm saying? So that is what I would call a very rookie mistake, because the 2 ends, if you've got an offset on one of the sides, You can't just make them all the same or your offsets are going to be backwards. So my wall would have went like that. So it was a really, really stupid mistake. But I wanted to tell you guys that for two reasons. One, I said I was going to be honest. I was going to promote my mistakes. And the reason for that is because I don't want you guys to make the same mistake. So that's the second reason, is I'm doing these videos targeting beginner woodworkers. So I want to I really want to promote the mistakes that a seasoned guy makes, because if an experienced guy is going to make the mistake, then chances are a beginner is going to make similar mistakes. So the reason I'm telling you all of this or any of this is because focus and think when you're laying things out, think about the right may not be the same as the left. Okay? So that's my lecture for today. Not really a lecture, but you know what I mean. Okay, enough of that. So let's go to laying these out, because I want my measurements to be exact. Now, with these horizontal pieces, it doesn't really matter because I can just flip them either way. It doesn't matter. However, two of the horizontal pieces have a dado to receive the lattice on the top. So I know that this one goes up here. Now, because this dado is dead center, I can still flip it over, so it doesn't matter. So I didn't need to pay attention to these ones. It was only the two outside ones. So here, this one's going to go like this, because I've got the small part on the bottom, and I want the small part on the bottom again. And these dados are pretty tight. I made these dados tight intentionally. See, this side's good. This side's happy, that side not so much. I need a little skinny 4x2 slab. Where's my little 4x2 pieces? There you are. Okay, so this is the bottom over here. And the top. We don't care about the top, because I just want to measure for my fence boards to get the right height and the width. Now, on the first one I did, my width was 57.5. And the way I determine that, I take the inside measurement, which I'm hoping is 57, which is 57. And then I add on, I've got a 1/4 inch dado on each side, so that add those together, it's 1/2 inch. So I need 57.5 wide, which is exactly what that one was. So that's a good thing. Check the top just to double, triple check, but it's going to be 57 and it is 57. Now for the height, same thing. And for that one I just did was 44 1/8 was the length of these. And this one is going to be, so 44 1/8. Wow, who'd have thunk? All right, so I know I need 11 boards to fill that space. So let's go ahead and start cutting. Oh, you can see how deep it went too. I got a owie. That is quite the sliver, huh? Little bastard, that hurt. Keep that one as a souvenir.